spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge needs his nephews all lean in, breaking down fights, codes that daddy supreme on. Just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged, from the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick, hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Those deep predictions, he be making those calls, getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jabs to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight Night Kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It's Thursday night. I just went and got myself a beverage here, and I am ready to talk some fights with you guys. The UFC, if you don't know already, is going to the happiest place on earth, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, this weekend. We're headlined by former champion Israel Adesanya going up against the 29-year-old Nasruddin Imavov, the French sniper. It's going to be a good card. We got 11 fights, some really compelling fights, some greasy-ass fights, but we're going to try to find bets on all of them. I've got a few track bets already for this card. I've got picks and fight write-ups for all the fights on the card, and I'm ready to break this down with you. Last week, we had a really good week. We hit the ass shaving of the week, which was Renier de Ritter. We hit the dog pick of the week, which was Merab Dvalishvili. We hit the Greasy 4-leg parlay at plus 630. My Patreon people hit the take this job and shove it parlay at plus 3,770, 37.7 to 1. We hit on Grant Dawson by decision, was the first leg of that parlay. The second leg was Renier de Ritter by submission. The third leg was Jailton Almeida by KO. We got them all to hit. It all came together like butt cheeks, up a ton of units. All the picks were really good. So looking to keep that ball rolling this week, looking to stay hot. And there's some fights that I'm flat out going to be staying away from on this card. Like I say, there are some greasy ass fights on this card. There are favorites that you just don't lay the kind of juice that you're laying on these quality of fighters. So we got to kind of we got to zig when everyone else is zagging. We got to try to find the spots that stick out. So I'm looking forward to breaking down this card with you today. What we're going to do, I'm going to give you a quick full card breakdown of all 11 fights on the card. I'm going to give you guys a greasy 4-leg parlay. Also, we're going to give you the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week, the best underdog pick of the week, in my opinion, and also Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, which is going to be the fighter that I think is not only going to win, but win dominantly and win at the right price, at an affordable price for you guys. So we're going to do all of that. But I wanted to let you guys know that I'm running a promotion. And if you look at the description of this video, there are two links. Well, there's one link to the Dub Club, and then there's a promo code for Patreon. If you want to join up with the community that's stacking cash tickets like flapjacks with their Uncle Weezy, if you want access to everything that I'm doing here right now, which is the probability stats and content package that the 60% off link is for, is an all-inclusive UFC stats, fight write-ups, and content package for the serious UFC bettor. You get in-depth individual fighter stats that has everything possible relating to pro and UFC records, finish stats, significant striking stats, distance striking stats, which are very important because we strip out all of the ground and clinch striking stats, and we subtract the time spent in control time positions to isolate just the striking stats that are accrued while they're in the center of the cage. So we have access to that, control time striking stats as well, the grappling stats, the control time stats for each fighter, strength of schedule stats, DFS statistics for DraftKings, FanDuel, Underdog, and Prize Picks, and all offensive and defensive UFC stats, fight by fight for every fighter on the card. You got the matchup stats page. Here, let me just show you real quick. Share the screen with you guys here, and you could take a look at the stats package here. You get this matchup stats page that has the two fighters arranged side by side so that you can compare and contrast all the relevant aspects of the matchup. The coolest thing about the matchup stats is that you can not only compare both fighters' stats to each other, but also to the divisional averages for striking, for grappling, all these things. So you can not only see, you know, how they compare to each other, but how they compare to the division that they're fighting in as a whole to determine whether they're above or below average in any of the stats that they accrue. We've got the over-under betting model that displays all the available over-under betting lines and the implied probabilities of those betting lines and how those implied probabilities or prices of the lines compare to the divisional benchmarks and the prior UFC and overall combined performances of both fighters. It's a phenomenal and well-organized tool to help the UFC better determine whether particular betting markets are over, under, or fairly priced compared to the available statistics that we have. And then we've also got the prop betting model over here, where you can use the same principles as the over-under betting model to do to price KO, sub, inside the distance, and decision props, and access to the Discord community where we share information, talk fights, and then access to my in-depth fight write-ups where we get, you know, we look at all of the available information for the fights, the trends. We look at the strength of schedule analysis. We look at the distance striking components of the fight, the grappling components of the fight, the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter, and a summary and a pick. So if you want access to that $25 a month monthly package, you can look in the description of this video, and there's a 60% off code. So you can join in the first month for only $10 instead of $25. Become a part of this community because we're making a lot of money on the tracked bets have been going our way. The fight picks, according to UFC predictions tracker, I was second in highest percentage for my fight picks in the year 2024. And I was first or out of something like 80 cappers in return on investment on those picks. So the amount of work that I'm putting into this stats package and the content that goes behind it, is really, it's translating to the results that we're having right now. And that's why we're cashing plus 3,770 parlays. That's why we cashed this Greasy 4-legger last week. That's why we're hitting on our picks at a much higher percentage than what we were in the past. It's because the work is getting put in and because the usefulness of this product is making me a better capper and everybody else who's subscribing to the product better with their tracked bets as well. So you guys, grab yourself a cold beverage. Let's break down some fights for UFC Happiest Place on Earth, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Let's talk about the first fight here. Egypt, stand up. Your number one athlete, Hamdi Abdelwahab, is going up against Jamal Pogues here. We got it at a pick'em. Fight doesn't go to decision, sitting around plus 160 for this fight. So it's a greasy-ass fight, you guys. You know, this is a pick'em for a reason. You know, Jamal Pogues is the better striker, the better minute winner, and he's got pretty good takedown defense. Hamdi Abdelwahab is going to need to get takedowns, and he's got the heavier hands. He's got the more power on the feet. So when I broke down this fight, the fight write-ups here, you know, obviously I'm giving a strength of schedule advantage here to Pogues. When it comes to the distance striking, I think Pogues is the better minute winner, but I think Abdelwahab actually has the heavier hands and is probably going to be the guy likely to land the bigger shots while on the feet. And when it comes to the grappling, I mean, this guy's an Olympic wrestler. He didn't win any medals or anything like that, but he's got those Greco-Roman takedowns, which are the, you know, upper body takedowns, a lot of trips and sweeps and reaps and throws, the kind of takedowns where you could get to dominant positions immediately if you execute the takedowns properly. So Abdelwahab is pretty good at getting takedowns, and when he gets takedowns, he's actually pretty good at maintaining position and riding out the round. He had to be taken off of Dante Almeida twice when they fought. He's not really a submission over position guy. He's going to stay on top of you and win the minutes. So I like that he's got good control time. So I think Pogues fights on too thin of margins here. Way too thin of margins for a man who's that fat. Let's face it. I don't really even see him in the fights that he's winning, setting himself apart by big margins in the distance striking exchanges. So if I think that Hamdi hits harder, and if I think that he's got more upside to win minutes in the grappling exchanges, I have to pick him to win this fight. So the pick for this fight is going to be Hamdi Abdelwahab, and I think that he's going to win this by decision, ladies and gentlemen. Hamdi Abdelwahab on my betting model here at plus 175 is my favorite play here for this fight. I think that's how he wins. I think this fight does go to decision, but paying minus 200 for a heavyweight fight to go to decision, I feel is pretty juicy. So I would rather just play the fighter in Abdelwahab that I think has the better minute-winning capabilities in this matchup. But yeah, I think if I'm betting that Pogues side, I'm betting Pogues by decision either because he's just not much of a finisher. And my favorite long shot prop, because Pogues is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, is Jamal Pogues by submission here at plus 1,800. So yeah, the pick, though, is going to be Hamdi Abdelwahab to win by decision. The next fight that we're going to talk about is Bogdan Grad versus Lucas Alexander. Lucas just a slight favorite here, but a lot of money has come in on Lucas. He was a big plus money number at the beginning of the week. So a lot of steam on the Alexander side. He's a slight favorite over Grad, who's priced at plus 100. Fight doesn't go to decision here at about a 60% implied probability at minus 150. So I'm picking Lucas Alexander to win this fight by decision because I think he's the better minute winner on the feet. I don't like Bogdan Grad's defense, his defensive striking. The head movement is not there. He's very hittable, but he's also very game. He throws a lot of volume. I really like Bogdan Grad's conditioning. And I think that he can mix in the grappling here, whether he's on the bottom. He's very opportunistic and aggressive with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from all positions on the mat. And he's got some highlight reel knockouts to his credit. And I think that he can wrestle a little bit. I think Bogdan is pretty good everywhere. Lucas, in my opinion, is the better striker. And I think his anti-grappling is actually okay. He's been submitted in all three of his professional losses. However, Lucas, the couple of those were a long time ago in his career, and he's been training at Fusion Excel. And I think the anti-grappling actually is getting better. I think the takedown defense isn't bad. And I do favor, especially early in the fight, the technical kickboxing of Lucas Alexander. So I think he'll be winning the minutes on the feet. I think he'll be stopping the takedowns of Bogdan Grad. And I think because Lucas is just a little bit faster and a little bit more defensively responsible and a little bit taller and longer at distance striking range, that he's going to be able to stuff the takedown attempts and win the minutes on the feet here on his way to a decision. When I look at my betting models here for this fight, these are the matchup stats. We don't have any stats for Grad, obviously, and Alexander is not losing a lot of minutes on the feet, in the grappling exchanges thus far. My models don't have a lot of data here, so there's nothing really that compelling. But when the over 1.5 was minus 175 earlier in the week, I thought that was a good play. At minus 225, I think it's fairly priced. My model does like Lucas Alexander by decision at plus 285. And I think Bogdan Grad by submission at plus 750 or plus 800 has got some meat on the bone. And I think that it's a potentially live bet. But the pick, you guys, is Lucas Alexander to win this fight by decision. The next fight that we're going to talk about, Jasudavicius versus Mayra Bueno Silva. This is going to be a banger, you guys. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm picking Jasmine to win this one by a late third-round knockout. The bet that I have on this fight is fight doesn't go to decision at plus 250. On my over-under betting model, it's showing that as a trifecta bet, which means that the price of the bet in line 7 here is 28.57%. Fights in the women's flyweight division finish inside the distance 37% of the time. So we're getting a 9% break when we compare those two available statistics. And we also noticed that 41% of their combined 17 UFC fights have finished inside the distance, which means that we're getting a 12.6% break when we compare that 41% combined finish rate of these two fighters to the 28.5% price of the line. And then they're also finishing at a higher rate than the division as a whole. So that's what we call a trifecta bet. When rows 12, 18, and 19 in my betting models are all green and positive numbers, it means that those three metric comparisons are all in favor of the betting in terms of pricing. So plus 250, like my model is saying that this thing should be sitting somewhere around plus 150. So I had to make this bet. And it's not just when the data confirms it, you guys. It's when my stylistic read of the fight also indicates that I think that both fighters could potentially get a finish here. Jasmine does her best work when she gets takedowns and gets on top. She just does not win enough minutes on the feet in order for her to feel confident that she's going to be able to win this fight without offensively grappling. If she offensively grapples, that's going to set up submission opportunities for Mayra Bueno Silva. And it's also going to set up opportunities for Jasmine to pass to dominant positions and land heavy ground and pound. Jasmine is somebody that is very strong in the clinch and has a lot of purpose to when she's throwing strikes on the mat with her opponent underneath her. So I do think that Jasmine is live for landing big shots on the feet. She's got a really good head kick with her power leg. And I do think that Mayra hits hard on the feet. And I think both of these ladies are live for a finish on the ground. So plus 250 for the fight doesn't go to decision is definitely one of my favorite bets of the week. When it comes to capping the fight, I'm picking Jasudavicius, but I think that she's going to really have to mind her P's and Q's when she gets this fight down to the ground, because Mayra Bueno Silva is so dangerous with her Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But if she does that, I think she will really wear on Mayra and potentially get a late finish. But at this price at minus 230, I think the money line side is Mayra Bueno Silva. I think that I would encourage people who like betting female underdogs to take a shot on Mayra Bueno Silva, because I think she's really live. My favorite bet for this fight was the fight doesn't go, so I played that instead because I think it's even a bigger number than Mayra Bueno Silva's money line, and I think that there's paths to victory for both fighters to finish. So the pick for this fight, though, is Jasudavicius by third round knockout. The next fight that we're going to talk about, boy, oh boy, is this a greasy-ass fight. Terrence McKinney, Damir Hadzovic. So you got McKinney at a minus 500 favorite right now. Hadzovic plus 375. This is an 83% implied probability for Terrence McKinney to win this fight. But there's a problem there, right? Terrence McKinney's not durable. He has terrible conditioning, and he's been knocked out violently 3 times in the UFC and 5 times in his professional career. Terrence McKinney's got way too many holes in his MMA skill set to justify putting him at an almost 84% implied probability to win the fight, because he's never won a fight. I think he's won 1 fight in his entire career that's gotten out of round 1. And it was against some scrub on the regional scene like 7 years ago. So Terrence McKinney, you just can't back him at minus 500. And then what you have to do is play juiced lines for him to finish in round 1. So my pick for this fight, though, it is Terrence McKinney to win. Like it's almost impossible not to see Terrence McKinney go out there, who's got excellent takedowns, go out there and against an opponent in Damir Hadzovic, who is 38 years old. So he's going to be the fighter that we always remember him being. B, Damir Hadzovic hasn't been in the cage in 2.5 years. So, if he's got any ring rust, Terrence McKinney is a guy who can start off so fast. He's going to have to get into this fight immediately. And I think Terry just takes him down, gets to his back, and probably chokes him out. But if this fight gets into the second and third rounds, I think Damir Hadzovic is going to become very live And Terrence McKinney has been knocked out brutally so many times as a professional that I think there actually is some value on the Damir Hadzovic money line and the Damir Hadzovic KO line, but I just can't get there for a guy that's 38 years old on a 2.5-year layoff with some of the worst takedown defense that I've ever seen in the UFC's lightweight division. So I'm making a very obvious pick here in McKinney submission round 1, but I will not be making any bets on this fight, and I will have no tracked action on this fight. Here we got another greasy-ass heavyweight fight. We got the very handsome Shamil Gaziev, one of the best beards in all of MMA, going up against Thomas the Train Petersen, the fighting pride of the state of Minnesota. This kid has been wrestling since he was 3 years old, and he's looking to go 2-1 in the UFC. I'm picking Shamil Gaziev, and it's not just because he's got an awesome Tapology picture. That's maybe half the reason. I've been trying to take that picture, but my facial hair, my beard will never, ever, ever reach the levels of glory that man's beard has right there. Shamil's putting us all to shame, and it's his world, and we're just living in it right now. Look, I'm picking Shamil to win this one by first round knockout. I think that's his best win condition here. If this fight were in Vegas and it were Shamil minus 335, I'd probably be betting Thomas Petersen. But Thomas having to make this trip all the way to Saudi Arabia, I think he probably loses this first round at a pretty high clip. And Shamil has got a ton of power in his hands. For a heavyweight, this dude hits hard for a heavyweight. So I think that he's going to have some early finish upside here. And I think he's athletic enough and good enough early in this fight to stuff any takedowns that Petersen may bring to him and land the bigger shots while this is on the feet. But Shamil's conditioning is terrible. So I don't see him having a lot of success after round 1. And Thomas Petersen's the kind of guy who can kind of wear on you. He can get you in the clinch and dirty box you. He can make you defend takedowns. And if he gets on top of you, even when you're getting up, he's very good at hitting you with his ground and pound when you're down. And when you're working your way back up to the feet, Thomas is landing uppercuts and making you pay. So I think that this fight can get really greasy. Once again, while I'm picking Gaziev, there is no chance that I am laying minus 330 on Shamil Gaziev. I don't care if this is in Riyadh and he trains in Bahrain. This guy's got a lot of holes in his game. And Thomas Petersen, I think, is pretty good. I don't think he's really that bad anywhere. He's a little undersized for the division. His striking isn't elite, but he went out there and he outstruck Muhammad Usman. He went out there and he had a competitive striking match with Jamal Pogues. So I think that Thomas has got, he's got to get past this first round, and then things are going to get very interesting for him. But I'm picking Gaziev by first round knockout, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that pick. And I'd probably like to say that if you put a gun to my head and said you got to bet a money line in this fight, I'm betting Thomas the Train Petersen and just getting that plus 270 number. I'd feel comfortable with that. So the pick is going to be Gaziev first round KO, but I don't think that Gaziev is the kind of guy that you can lay this kind of juice on. And I kind of like an over 1.5 rounds for this fight. I think that this one is probably going to go a decent, over 7.5 minutes. And I think that at better than minus 200, that probably hits. But yeah, we're picking Gaziev, you guys. The next fight, Muhammad Naimov going up against Khan Ofli. Naimov is minus 290 there. Let's see where he is now. Naimov is actually minus 335. So let me just update that. This is these lines were what I had in here when I did my show for the Patreon and Dub Club people on Wednesday afternoon. So we got 275. So we update that and we show that. So there we go. Updated line. Naimov is now minus 335. Khan Ofli plus 275. And this is another line where I feel like people are betting against Ofli and not on Naimov. Muhammad Naimov is not a guy you're laying minus 335 on. I cashed on Naimov when he made his debut against Malarkey, up a weight class on short notice, got him at plus 450, cashed a small bet on that. I cashed on him against Nathaniel Wood because he was big plus money and I thought he was going to be the bigger guy. I thought he'd be able to win some minutes in the wrestling and land some big shots on the feet. Did he cheat in every round? Yes. Did he almost get finished in the third round? Yes. But did your Uncle Weezy cash a money line ticket? Yes, and that's what's important. So we got that one too. And then I bet on him against Felipe Lima, and I thought maybe he won the first 2 rounds. They were definitely close rounds. They could have went either way, but he kind of the controller broke. It felt like he went for a takedown. There was a scramble, and he just felt like he didn't need to move in the scramble, and he didn't need to protect his neck, and it was over like that. So I do think that this fight is going to finish inside the distance. I could see Khan Ofli having success late in the fight if he gets a takedown and gets to a dominant position. And early in the fight, I don't like Khan Ofli's striking at all. He's undersized for the division, and he's very hittable. So those are 2 big problems when especially when you're a grappler. If you're going to be trying to take down bigger, taller, stronger guys, it's going to drain your gas tank quickly. And when you don't have good distance management skills because you're undersized, it makes it easier to get hit. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Khan making a long trip from Australia to Saudi Arabia here, while Naimov is, I think, training in the area, if I'm not mistaken. I know he used to train in Colorado, so I don't know where he is. But either way, Naimov is the hometown fighter here. And I think that he's going to win this one by second round knockout. And that was my pick for this fight. But I think that Khan Ofli is a good grappler. And we've seen Muhammad Naimov have lapses in some of those positions. And Khan has good back takes and good finishes with ground and pound and with chokes. So I could see either one of these guys getting a finish here. I definitely say that fight doesn't go at around plus 110 is a solid bet. But the pick there is going to be Naimov by second round knockout. Let me get a sip of this beverage. All right. Next fight, Fares Ziam versus Mike Davis. This one I'm going with Fares Ziam by decision. Get these stats up on the screen for you guys. So Mike Davis is coming off of a torn bicep, and he's been away from the cage for a little bit more than 10 months at this point. Mike is just not an active fighter, a career that's already lasted almost 10 years, and he's only fought 13 times. A lot of injury difficulties. He doesn't really seem to be somebody that enjoys fighting, so he kind of does it because he's good at it. And Mike's got all of those accolades. Like if you were like in a video game building a fighter, you'd build that guy to be like Mike Davis. You'd want somebody with Golden Gloves level boxing. You'd want somebody that went downstate as a New York high schooler in wrestling. You'd want somebody that was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. You'd want somebody that was explosively athletic and fast, and being able to put all of those skill sets together, the BJJ, the wrestling, the striking, with the athleticism to put it all together and make it come together like butt cheeks. That's what Davis brings, but he's just not active enough of a fighter. And the one thing that I just don't like about Mike Davis is this guy is just getting hit. He's getting hit constantly. He does have 60% distance striking defense, which is right around average for the division, but his opponents are throwing a ton of volume. But I don't like that he's absorbing 1.2 more significant strikes per minute than he lands at distance, especially not when he's fighting Fares Ziam, who's so efficient, who's so defensively responsible, who's so good at maintaining range and countering. Fares is going to be 1 inch taller. He's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. He's 4.5 years younger than Mike. He's been a lot more active than Mike. He's more experienced than Mike Davis is, and he's even got more experience at the UFC level. And I just think that Fares is a little bit more keyed in right now. He's only 27 years old, and we're seeing marked improvements from this guy. The grappling is getting better. The striking was already elite. He won the K1 when he was 18 years old. So this kid has got really clean, really technical striking, and he's very, very difficult to hit. So I think this line is right with Mike Davis being a favorite because Mike Davis has an opportunity to use his wrestling and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu together to win minutes. I do believe that Fares Ziam is going to limit the amount of time that Mike Davis spends on top when he does get takedowns. I think that Fares might even be able to get on top himself in certain positions in this fight. And while it's on the feet, I think he's going to be hitting Mike Davis, and I think Mike Davis is going to have a hard time finding Fares Ziam. The way that Fares counters and feints really slows down the offense of his opponents. Even though he throws less significant strikes per minute than the division does, his opponents only throw 9.5. They throw even less, and it's because of that 71% distance striking defense. It's because of the feints, and it's because of him being so willing to counter in that pocket. He really trusts his head movement and his defense. So because I think Fares is just the hotter fighter right now, who has a better career trajectory than Mike Davis, and because they're fighting in Riyadh, I think that this is going to be much easier trip for Fares, and that Mike Davis coming off that torn bicep, I don't know if he's been training at the level that he needs to trade in order to perform optimally here. So even though I favor Mike Davis's athleticism and his ability to be able to win minutes in the grappling exchanges here, I do think that Fares is going to win this fight and win it by decision. And that is my pick. Fares Ziam by decision. The next fight that we're going to talk about is Said Nurmagomedov against Vinicius Lockdog Oliveira. We got Said minus 152, Vinicius plus 132. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at minus 115. There's a ton of money that came in on the over earlier in the week, and it drove the under 2.5 rounds to plus 155. I bet that for 1.5 units. It's moved definitely in my favor. Got a lot of CLV on my side there. And I think that this is going to be one of the best fights on the card because Vinicius Oliveira is one of the combatants in the fight. The guy is super fun to watch. He is a killer be killed fighter. He's a showboat. He's got a lot of panache and style. He keeps his hands down. He wings bombs. He's really put on some entertaining fights in UAE Warriors and in the UFC so far against Ricky Simon and Bernardo Sopai. So, and he had a great knockout against poor Victor Madrigal on Dana White's Contender Series. And if you have not watched Vinicius Oliveira versus Ali Taleb, definitely do yourself a favor and watch that fight. It was absolute pandemonium. Some of the best announcing ever. There were like 4 people announcing the fight, and they were all screaming in the mic over each other when the fight got exciting. It was amazing. So Vinicius is a really good prospect at only 29 years old with 24 professional fights, 21-3 record, and he's finished 18 of those 21 wins inside the distance. And for somebody that's been that finish dependent, it's also good to see that this guy's been 3-0 in decisions as well. But there are some things that really bother me for Vinicius. Number one, it's the striking defense. It's not very good. This guy is extremely hittable. Said Nurmagomedov is going to be the better wrestler here. We saw Bernardo Sopai take this guy down and absolutely maul him early in the fight. We even saw Ricky Simon get him down a couple of times, but Ricky led him back up for some reason. I don't know what Ricky was doing, but if Said takes him down, I think he's going to stay down. Said's the better striker, in my opinion. He is got a lot of great spinning attacks. He's got a ton of power. He's 4-0 to the KO. And I think he's a lot more defensively sound, and I think he's the much better range manager here. And I believe that Said is going to be the much better moment and minute winner in the grappling exchanges here. He's fought the better brand of competition as a professional, and he's never been finished. So we got a very durable Said Nurmagomedov who's never been finished going up against Vinicius Oliveira, who's been finished in all 3 of his losses against lower level competition than Said Nurmagomedov. So I don't think there's anybody on Oliveira's resume that he's beaten that Said wouldn't like go through pretty easily. So I do like Said a bunch in this fight. I don't really know where Oliveira is better other than being younger and throwing a lot more volume. I don't really think that he's going to be better anywhere than Said Nurmagomedov, and I think that Said's got him covered in the striking and the grappling. And Said's a great finisher, man. This guy's finished 5 of his 7 UFC wins. and he's got great instincts. When he hurts his opponent, he goes all out for that finish. Not something that you see from a lot of the Dagestanis. They're very patient fighters. They'll only take what you give them. But Saeed is definitely a little more reckless. So I like an under here because I think Oliveira is a very good finisher and a very explosive fighter. So I think if he finishes, you know, he could be the first person to finish Saeed Nurmagomedov. But we've also seen Vinicius he has no defense. So I think that's going to be a very bad quality against Saeed Nurmagomedov, who's so clean and technical and dangerous on the feet, and who's, you know, like, I think his wrestling is being seriously underrated in this spot as well. So I like Saeed, and I like him to finish this fight, and I'm picking him to win by second round ninja choke here. So I got Nurmagomedov submission round 2. I think is going to be one of the best fights on the card. Really looking forward to it. The next fight, Sergey Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So I'm picking Pavlovich by first round KO. This is another situation where I would pick Rozenstruik here if Pavlovich was an orthodox fighter, but Jairzinho Rozenstruik's best weapon is his jab, and he's fighting a southpaw, you know. And when you fight a southpaw, it's just so much harder to have your jab be effective, because it means that you have to kind of lose the foot battle for outside position to get the inside position to land the jab, which means that now you're right in the way of your opponent's power strikes. And, you know, if you haven't seen Sergey Pavlovich fight, you just don't want to be on the wrong end of that dude's power strikes. This guy can hit you so hard that you're not going to wake up for a day or two. He can punch holes through faces. So he is a guy that is very front-loaded, very explosive. And Jairzinho has never been known for being a terribly defensive fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got 55% distance striking defense, which is, I mean, it's okay for the heavyweight division, but you really need to be defensively sound against somebody like Sergey. Sergey really doesn't even need to hit you clean to get you into serious trouble, because the guy is just a physical freak. He looks like he could punch holes through brick walls. He's got an 84-inch reach. He's 6'3". Dude looks like he was carved out of marble, for Christ's sake. So even though I think Jairzinho is the more skilled fighter, the more skilled kickboxer, I don't think he's that skilled that he can avoid sometime in the first 5 minutes one of those canned hams that Sergey Pavlovich has at the end of his wrist, hitting him somewhere in the head that just sends him loopy and winds up being, you know, and obviously, you know, if you got Pavlovich, you know, in a dominant position, starting to land ground and pound, the referee's not going to give you much leeway. He's going to get in there and stop that fight so that you don't die. So as much as I kind of want to take a shot on Rozenstruik here, because I could see him outworking this dude at range, and I think that these guys are going to be well matched at, you know, in the striking. I think that Jairzinho actually is the better striker, but you fade the power of Sergey Pavlovich at your own peril. And this is one that I think that the line makes sense that Pavlovich is at least like a -200 favorite, but where it's at right now, I think there's probably some value on Jairzinho. But like I said, there's value on Damir Hadzovic too, but I'm not taking that one. So I'm just going to be staying away from this fight. This is not a fight that I want to have my money behind, because I think there's a ton of variance, and I think it comes down to who lands the first big shot. The next fight is a fight that I do want my money on, and it is Shara Magomedov versus Michael Page. I'm picking Michael Page to win this fight by decision, and I think that this line is horrible. And let me explain why. This is a bad line. If you're laying -200 on Shara Magomedov, I think you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And there's a very valid reason to lay money on Shara Magomedov when he's fighting in the Middle East. A, he's a very big star there. B, I've seen him commit egregious fouls and not even be warned. That Mark Goddard was reffing his fight. I believe it was against Bruno Silva or Trocoli. One of the most egregious French grabs that I had ever seen. And he does not even warn Magomedov about it, you know, and Magomedov is going to get any close decision is going to go his way. They love him in this part of the world, and they're desperately trying to make him a star. And you can always tell when the UFC wants someone to be a star, they will pick and choose. They will hand pick the opponents. And Shara Magomedov, this is his fourth opponent, and they've chosen 4 opponents that cannot grapple their way out of a paper bag. The best grappler that he faced is Antonio Trocoli, who's a C-level regional scene fighter at best. And they made sure to throw him in there on like 3 days' notice so that even if he did get a takedown, he would gas out a minute later and not be able to do anything with it. So they've been hand-picking Shara's opponents, and they were running out of guys, frankly, that can't wrestle their way out of a paper bag. So they actually had to go down a division to Michael Page to find a guy that would not wrestle Shara Magomedov, that would not exploit that big gaping hole that exists in his game, that we're never going to see tested because the UFC plays preferential treatment for the people that they want to make stars. They want to make this dude a star. But I think that people are saying that because of what the UFC wants, they're pricing Shara as if he doesn't have to go in there and fight Michael Page. Like he's just going to walk in, they're going to announce his name, and then they're not going to fight 3 rounds, and then they're just going to go to the decision, and they're going to raise the guy's hand that they want to win. The problem with that is that they are going to fight. There is going to be 15 minutes of time where these guys spend in the middle of the cage and they're striking. And the question that I would ask you, if you're backing Shara Magomedov at minus 200 is, who has ever looked minus 200 on the feet against Michael Venom Page? Who's done that? Because Michael Venom Page has how many professional fights? He's 22-3, so he's got 25 professional fights. He's been knocked out once. It was by Douglas Lima. Lima landed a beautiful calf kick, and then as Page got back to his feet, he caught him with a hook right on the chin. Lucky shot, beautiful shot, but let's face it, trying to recreate a knockout like that, you're never going to recreate it. So Michael Page looked minus 300 on the feet versus Kevin Holland. He looked minus 200 on the feet versus Ian Gary. Kevin Holland tried to offensively grapple Michael Venom Page. So how the fuck does Shara Magomedov, who cannot wrestle at all, so he's got to strike. He has to strike. There's no way he's the better grappler. Michael Venom Page would probably rinse Shara Magomedov in a grappling match. So that is out the window. Shara cannot win minutes in the grappling exchanges against Michael Venom Page. How does he look minus 200 against this guy? Because of the kicks? Dude, he's going to be getting everything that he throws. He's going to be getting countered. And here's the problem. Shara Magomedov has one eye and disgustingly bad distance striking defense. He's extremely easy to hit. I mean, even if you miss his face, you can hit his fucking beard. It's that big, So I don't get this line. I've only got 1 unit on Page. I don't know why I don't have more, but I think I do know why. And that's, Page is going to have to win by a good margin in order to get the nod in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia against this guy. But I've never seen anybody, light up Michael Venom Page at range. So I'm just going to assume that Shara is not going to be able to do it either because, Bruno Silva, who's slow as shit, was having some success on the feet. Oleg Sejcek dropped Shara. They didn't count it as a knockdown, but he sure as fuck dropped him. Petrosian hurt him a couple of times. Shara's got a head like a fucking cannonball, though. So I don't think you're going to be able to knock this dude out. But because I think Page is the better striker, because I think he's the better grappler, because I think he's the better minute winner at range, and he's way, way, way more defensively responsible and hard to hit, I have to pick him here. And I think the most responsible pick is Page to win by decision because of the durability of Shara Magomedov. Which brings us to the main event of the evening, you guys. Izzy Adesanya, minus 155. Nasruddin Imavov, plus 135. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 150. So, interesting fight. If I bring up my fight write-ups here for this fight, I've got the strength of schedule advantage, obviously going to Israel Adesanya here. He's been a champion. He's had, I think, 12 consecutive fights that have been 5-round main events with gold on the line. And then when it comes to the striking, I mean, I have to give it to Adesanya, right? I mean, who's going out there and just completely starching Adesanya on the feet? I mean, he even knocked out Alex Pereira, who's like right now a god tier striker in the UFC. Israel ended this dude, with counter striking at the end of the second round of their fight. So the second fight in the UFC. So Israel Adesanya is 35 years old. Nasruddin Imavov is 29. And there's definitely a career trajectory issue here. If you go back to the Curtis fight, which was a no contest that Imavov was winning, you put Imavov on a 4-fight win streak right now. Izzy's on a 2-fight losing streak, and this is going to be the first fight that he's had since the year 2019 that hasn't been for a championship. So you got to wonder where the motivation is at. Are we going to start to see him slow down a little bit? Are we going to see him not train as hard? Are we going to see him start to care less about his career? Maybe just take good, main event fights to show up for those checks, try to keep it at distance and win a point fighting battle. But Imavov still has to prove it to me that he's the better striker here, or that he's able to grapple at a championship level in a 5-round fight. So grappling, I think that is Imavov. He's the better wrestler. He's the better minute and moment winner on the mat. But, Izzy's 1 inch taller. He's got a 5-inch reach advantage, constantly switching stances, more pro experience, more UFC experience, UFC strength of schedule advantage, striking advantage. And the grappling game is his weakness, though. But Imavov's 5.5 years younger. He's at a different career trajectory, and he could win minutes and moments in the grappling exchanges. But the problem is that Imavov loses a ton of minutes in the clinch. He's terrible in the clinch, and he's easy to control there. And also, Imavov is not the most voluminous wrestler. He's only attempting 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's getting less than 1 takedown per 15 minutes. So when it comes to Imavov, even though he has the grappling advantage, what's the chances that there's going to be a lot of grappling exchanges in this fight? Nasruddin's going to have to be the one initiating them. So if he starts trying to, if he shoots 4 takedowns in the first, shoots 5 takedowns in the second, and isn't having success, dude, by the third time the third round comes around, this guy's conditioning is already suspect. If he's offensively wrestling unsuccessfully, I think that this is going to be all Israel. So I'm picking Adesanya. I'm picking him to win this fight by decision here. So yeah, quick recap. Adesanya decision, Page decision, Pavlovich KO1, Nurmagomedov submission 2, Ziam to win by decision, Naimov KO2, Gaziev KO1, McKinney submission 1, Jasudavicius KO3, Lucas Alexander by decision, and the great Hamdi Abdelwahab by decision. And we got to do a couple more things here. First of all, I got to give you a dog pick of the week. It's the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. The Bootsy Collins pick has been shaving ass. I think 6 out of the last 7 weeks or something like that we're hitting. The last one we hit at plus 250, Merab Dvalishvili. So it's great to hit underdogs, but when you're hitting them at plus 250, it really slaps. But we're only picking 2 underdogs this week. I've got Ziam to win by decision, and I've got Michael Venom Page here. And I just kind of gave you a pretty impassioned speech about why this money line is wrong. So how could the dog pick of the week not be Michael Venom Page at plus 170? I think that there's levels in the striking here, and I think that Michael's going to win the striking exchanges of this fight, and he can land big shots, and I think he's going to really, really frustrate this dude. And the style that he fights with is going to be something that this dude has never seen before. And you see guys go out there and just absolutely lose their minds. Like I remember the Rickles fight, when Mike Page fought Rickles. Rickles at some point in the second round just quit. He just waved his hand to the ref, and he was basically like, dude, fuck this. I am not fighting this guy anymore. This is stupid. And Page was just beating his ass. So I'm going with this one, you guys. Plus 170, Michael Venom Page. I don't see how you don't track that. It's a bet that you have to make, in my opinion, which leaves us with one order of business left in the week, you guys. That's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. We got to find somebody that's not only going to win, but they're going to win violently. And they're going to win violently at a line that is very bettable, that's economical, that you could put some money on it and you're going to get something back. Like, for instance, I could give you Terrence McKinney to shave the ass of Damir Hadzovic, and he can go out there and win by first round submission. But that's a minus 550 money line at this point or something. So what do you win? You win nothing. And then I look like a prick if Terrence goes out there and shits the bed and gasses out in the second round like he always does and gets finished. So yeah, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week has to be a reliable winner at a fair price with finishing upside. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we just found somebody that fits all three criteria, you guys. We got a Dagestani wrestler with phenomenal distance striking, a strength of schedule advantage, a wrestling advantage, a striking advantage, and I think just the much more impressive wins, and he's the much more defensively responsible fighter. I think that if Saeed ever gets sick of how the distance striking exchanges are going in this fight, that he could take down Vinicius. And the great thing about that is that he doesn't have to get to a dominant position. All Saeed has to do is create one scramble. And when he creates scrambles, that's when he starts trying to snatch up the neck. And his ninja choke is one of the most dangerous and efficient submissions that any UFC fighter has in any weight class. So I like Saeed Nurmagomedov to win this fight. Like I say, I think he's better everywhere. He's got a nice strength of schedule advantage, but he has pulled out of a lot of fights recently, and he has not. He's been away from the cage for over a year. But the thing is, that's most Dagestanis. When they show up, they win, and they perform very well. And even if he doesn't really do great, even if he doesn't get the finish, even if he kind of just looks mediocre, he might still get that decision because he's got the V at the end of his name. Even if he loses 60% of this fight, he might be getting his hand raised when they read the judges' scorecards. Nurmagomedov in Riyadh is going to be giving you guys Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, and we're looking to make it another one in a row. You guys, we did it. We made it through the entire main card breakdown, broke down all 11 fights, gave you the dog pick of the week, gave you Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. So we got one more thing to do before we talk to the people in the chat, and that is going to be to put together a Greasy 4-leg parlay at a big plus money number. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think I might be getting a little too big for my britches here. Maybe it's the beer. But we're looking to hit big this week. You know, I'm emboldened by hitting the Greasy 4-legger last week. I'm emboldened by hitting the take this job and shove it parlay last week. And you know, usually what happens is that I get brought right back down to earth. You don't want to get too confident or overconfident in yourself. You don't want to think that all of a sudden you're infallible, because you're not. But I think I've put together 4 pretty good legs here. They line up with my stylistic reads on the fight. I'm not going outside what my stylistic reads are, and I do enough research to have faith in my stylistic reads. So when we're gambling, you know, sometimes we got to make gambles in life that we got to take a little bit of extra risk, right? So leg number 1 is going to be the Hamdi Abdelwahab money line, all right? And I'm already taking a risk here. For those of you guys who watch Stat Diggers, Brady and I made a bet because he's picking Pogues, I'm picking Abdelwahab. And it's a sloppy heavyweight fight. So we agreed that whoever won the fight, whoever picked against that person would have to do something that person did. So if I win, if Hamdi Abdelwahab wins, that means Brady has to do something that Hamdi did, which is take all the steroids, because Hamdi Abdelwahab has been away from the cage for 2.5 years. He was suspended for 2 years by USADA for not just testing positive for one performance-enhancing drug, but something like 4 different anabolic steroids. So the deal is, if Hamdi wins the fight, he's got to take all the steroids, and he's got to take so many steroids that he cannot stop taking the steroids until he can do 10 reps of 315 pounds on the bench. Then he can stop with the steroids. If Hamdi loses and Jamal Pogues win, I got to do something that Jamal Pogues did, which means I got to put on 60 pounds of fat. And so we made this bet on Sunday. I've already had my doc, because my girlfriend told my doctor about my plans. I got a call from my doctor, and surprise, surprise, they're advising against putting on 60 pounds of fat at my age. And I said, well, let me advise you on something, doc, that I don't welch on bets, so whatever the physical repercussions and health repercussions would be of me in my 50s putting on 60 pounds of fat, I want you to think for a second what the implications of me would be welching on a bet, and also how does, so what I asked the doctor was, well, how do you think Hamdi loses this fight? She's like, I don't know, but well, then why are you telling me not to make the bet? So I'm winning this one. And not only am I not going to put on 60 pounds of fat, Brady's going to be doing 10 reps of 315 pounds. And when he does, we're going to be cashing leg 1 of this Greasy 4-leg parlay. Hamdi Abdelwahab in the Middle East. We want to pick the Middle East fighters this week. And I think that Hamdi is going to be able to get takedowns with those Greco-Roman chops that he has. When he gets to dominant positions, I think he's going to win the round. I think he's going to land the bigger shots on the feet. And I think that we're going to cash the first leg of this parlay, which is Hamdi Abdelwahab's money line. Poor Brady's going to have to take so many steroids. But he's going to be really strong, too. So I think that this could, there's going to be some side effects, but also the side effects of being ripped and extremely strong. Leg number 2 is going to be the under 2.5 rounds for Ofli versus Naimov. So first leg 1, Hamdi Abdelwahab. Leg number 2, we're doing the under 2.5 rounds. So we're getting plus 145 here. And I think that either guy can get a finish here. The fight doesn't go is sitting at like plus 100 and 110. So 145 is a really fat number. Ofli's got grappling upside, and his striking is terrible. I think that there's a really good chance that Muhammad Naimov knocks this dude out in round 1 or round 2. So I'm looking for a finish here, like that under 2.5 rounds. And if you look at my betting model for this fight, it's something that the data likes as well. You could see here for that under 2.5 at plus 145. 3 of 4 Naimov fights have finished under 2.5 rounds at the UFC level, and it's 1 of 1 for Ofli. So 80%, and we're only paying 40% at plus 145. And even on the regional scene in a 22-fight sample size, you see Ofli and Naimov finishing at a 54% clip, which means that, these guys are finishing more than half the time. And I don't think that Ofli is going to be able to hang with this dude on the feet. So I can definitely see a finish here. And this is going to be a number at plus 145, where if we hit a minus 110 on Hamdi and a plus 145 on this, we're going to have big equity going into the last 2 legs of this parlay. So leg 2, plus 145 brings up to plus 368 on only 2 legs. Leg number 3, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, Saeed Nurmagomedov, the money line at minus 152. This was something I was going to play at minus 170, and I think it's good, like almost up to minus 200 personally. So I think there's a lot of value on this line. I love Nurmagomedov's paths to victory in this fight, and I think that he can get the job done. And because it's in Saudi Arabia, if it is a close fight and it goes to the scorecard, I think you're going to see I think you're going to see Saeed getting his hand raised here. So that brings this parlay up now to plus 675 for 3 legs. So for the 4th leg, something that I like, we gave this out on Stat Diggers as one of the legs of the Stat Diggers parlay, and it is going to be the over 2.5 rounds for Shara versus Page at minus 225. Page is a very, very low volume striker, and he's virtually impossible to hit. So it's very difficult to knock out Michael Venom Page. And I think you could bring a shovel into the cage and hit Shara square in the face with it, and he would just smile at you. So I don't think that either one of these guys is going to knock each other out. I think this thing goes the full 15 minutes, and it's a nice wide line at minus 225 to where if the first 3 legs of this do cash, we can play that under 2.5 rounds at plus 185 and hedge out of the position. But that brings it up to, once we get that over 2.5 rounds for Page Magomedov at minus 225, that brings us up to plus 1,020 on Bet Online Sportsbook. So the minus 215 went to minus 225 while we were doing the show. But yeah, minus 225 over 2.5 rounds. That brings this thing to plus 1,036 for the Greasy 4-leg parlay. So once again, I want to remind you guys, in the description of this video, a 60% off coupon to a 1 month's membership of my probability stats and content package. You're going to get access to the fight write-ups for all the fights on the card. You're going to get access to the betting over-under betting models, the prop betting models, the individual fight statistics for every fighter on the card, the matchup statistics side by side and also compared to the divisional averages. You're going to get access to my Discord where I post all of my tracked bets. You're going to get access to 4 hours every single week of original content that is not available on YouTube. Balls Deep breakdowns, a full card breakdown show. Probability, a full card breakdown show where we analyze the prop betting markets using my proprietary betting models. All of that available for $25 a month. And if 25 is too much for you, I want to encourage you to take advantage of a 60% discount, which I put here. Hang on just a second. Hide, change. I think there's a, there we go. We got to change that to 60. Save, and there we go. So 60% discount off of $25 a month. So I'm encouraging you to join for 1 month for $10. It's the best way to support my work and also get access to a tremendous amount of MMA and UFC statistics information that will help you make better decisions when you gamble. Very affordable package for everything that you get. So please consider joining the Patreon, joining the Dub Club, and taking advantage of that discount if you want to get access to Probability, a 2-hour show this week. If you want to get access to Balls Deep breakdowns, if you want access to all these stats, all these fight write-ups, and even the UFC Riyadh plus money bets that we found on all the fights on this card. Even the Take This Job and Shove It parlay, you guys, this week is Naimov by KO. It's Michael Venom Page by decision at plus 280. It's Saeed Nurmagomedov, who's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week to win inside the distance. If you were to parlay those 3 legs and they were to all cash, it would come out to plus 4,554 on Bet Rivers Sportsbook. And if that cashed and then you didn't join my Patreon, you would be dead to me. But please take advantage of that 60% off coupon. I hope to see by the time I'm done with this show that a couple people signed up. I've got 100 spots available on the Dub Club with this coupon, and I've got an unlimited amount in that Patreon discount code. When you check out, you use that code that's in the description of the video. It'll give you access to 60% off of your first month's membership. What is going on with you guys in the chat? I have been rambling long enough. Let's see here. Holy cow, we got a lot of comments. I love it. We got my guy Olajuwon Dream in the room saying, "Oi!" And we got him saying, hopefully catch the end of the show. We'll be at basketball practice when you start. We got my guy Daz Files checking in from the Southern Hemisphere saying the wettest summer ever here, but taking this show to the park anyways. Let's fucking go, Unc. Good to see you hanging out in here, Daz Files, my guy. Another one of my guys hanging out, Mushroom MMA, saying shout out to the Greasy four-legger. I think it's hit 5 of the last 6 events. It has not, but we've had legs that we could hedge out on. So I think I've hit like 3 out of the last 6. But I think if you would have hedged out on the last leg on 2 of those 3 losers, you would have cashed as well. So I think it's something like over the last 5, I think I've hit 18 out of the 20 legs or something like that. It's been absolutely on fire. Expressed is in the room. What is up, Express? We got Pogues MMA in the room saying, "Oi!" We got Sam saying, "Parlay hit last week. Let's hit another one, Uncle Weezy. Let's do it, Sam." What do I think about an Oliveira and Rozenstruik parlay? I think that Pavlovich wins, and I definitely think that Nurmagomedov wins. So I don't think that that's going to hit, my man. We got Yitro saying, "I do not trust anyone on this card." Dude, I feel you, man. So it'll be all over-unders and props for me. Got it, Yitro. I totally get that. Exclusive Oro saying, "Let me get an oi." Oi! What is up, Exclusive Oro? Good to see you hanging out in here. We got Jacob Cole saying, "My girl was all fired up for the intro, damn it. Let's go, man." Sam's asking Yitro what he's bet so far. Gus is saying, "Men of culture." That's right, Gus. You know it. My guy, the bookie man in the room, saying that Bogdan Grub's Grad sub 2-3 looks like my play. Dude, I don't mind that at all. The guy's got an effective submission game for sure. Double Vision saying XRP. What is up, Double Vision? Good to see you hanging out in here. We got TH in the room saying, "Oi!" We got Daniel Pauly in the room saying Hamdi round 3 or 3 KO at $11 is the play. There you go, man. And ring a ding ding, you guys. We got Gabe Fulton in the house with the $5 donation saying, "Let's fucking go. Let's go, Gabe." Thank you so much for the donation to the show. Keeping the lights on here in your Uncle Weezy's studio. We got Alibi Stream Highlights in the room saying, "Hit the first fight on decision as well." Yeah, man, the first fight on decision, that's what I got. I've got Abdelwahab by decision for sure. The man, the myth, the greaser, Weezy, my man. What's up, Desi? Good to see you hanging out in here, dude. We got Remdog saying, "What's up, Unc? Missed chatting fights with you yesterday. Glad to be here live today." Oh, yeah, he didn't get a notification when I went live for Balls Deep Breakdowns, but I make those videos private. So you got to check the Patreon, but even then sometimes it's easy to miss, we've all got life, so sometimes those shows that I do for the Patreon, they start at different times, different weeks, depending on when the research gets done. We got Nathaniel or Nat Nail Kanaw saying Hamdi is going to gas if it goes to the third. That's why they're giving you such good odds. Yeah, he might gas, but then again, Jamal Pogues is not somebody who pushes a pace. And, but we'll see, man. Like, I don't think Pogues has got phenomenal conditioning either, especially if you make him wrestle. But, it's a pick 'em for a reason. There's definitely paths to victory here for Jamal Pogues. And if he executes those paths to victory, your Uncle Weezy's going to be in bad shape. Bad shape. And yes, don't forget the Greasy 4, please. You got that right. We got Luca of Kamui in the room. Luca, good to see you hanging out in here. You are new to the Patreon, my man. And he's saying, "Let's go. Let's get it, dude." Hamdi KO before 2.5 would be my bet with times 8 looks juicy. We got the Golden Octagon in the room saying, "Oi, good evening, Weezy and chat. I can't wait to wake up for fight Saturday morning. What's everyone's go-to for breakfast when the fights are this early?" Like when I cook breakfast here, my traditional breakfast dish, which I made today at like 4 p.m. I had a 4 p.m. breakfast. I make my own hash browns. I make some bacon, chop up that bacon. I put the chopped up bacon with the hash browns, cover that with white cheddar cheese, and then I put it under the broiler to melt that white cheddar cheese. And then while it's melting under the broiler, I'm making 2 eggs over easy to slap on top of those fucking cheese, eggs, and bacon. I call that Uncle Weezy's defibrillator. Gets your heart going, that cholesterol is good for you. It gives your brain a nice layer of fat to protect it so that it can find the best plus EV bets every single week so that we can stack cash tickets like flapjacks. And flapjacks is another great go-to breakfast. before the fights. My guy Matt from the Golden Octagon is the man who made the intro music for this show. Appreciate you, Matt. Good to see you hanging out in here. Over the pants, Hamdi. Out of Egypt. Introducing Over the Pants, Hamdi. Ladies and gentlemen, Gus B, 2003 with comments of the stream. Congratulations, Gus B. You got comment of the week, my man. Who do they feed Thug Nasty to after his comments? I think it's going to be on Natan Levy. I think it's going to be Natan Levy. And I want to be real careful with my words here. That would be the biggest shit show ever. Like the press conferences, like there's like the horrible, horrible, horrible person in me wants to see Bryce Mitchell versus Natan Levy next. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it goes up to 170 and they bring on Shaman Smatrisky. I don't know, man, but it's got to be Levy. They got to do it, right? Real fight picks. Before the steroids, Hamdi was a good guy. He cared about his people before the steroids. Remdog saying go to breakfast equals caffeine. Yeah, for me too, man. Black coffee is the first thing that I have every single morning, man. Real fight pick saying he would go fishing with Hamdi. There you go, man. My guys, Chronic Combat Conversations in the house saying, let's go, Weezy. Let's nail that Greasy parlay again. Let's get it, dude. Have they weighed in yet? I know it's going to be right around now, so not sure. How did Hamdi look in the weigh-in? Not sure. No weigh-ins. Okay, so it's not until tomorrow. It might be tonight, though, because remember, these fights are starting it'll probably happen in the middle of the night, actually, because more than 24 hours before the fights is when they weigh in, and they're starting the fights at like 8 a.m. my time. So I would expect maybe around midnight or something like that, maybe 2 a.m. they're going to be doing these weigh-ins. We got my guy Nigel Lee in the room, Money Bank Locks, fellow Sigma Chi saying, "Oi, Uncle Weezy and fellow men on degeneracy." What's up, dude? We got Alibi Stream highlights saying 10.25 significant strikes for Bogdan sounds crazy. Well, it's because he fought Michael Aswell, and that dude just put a crazy amount of volume on him. D. Spearman in the room saying, Uncle Weezy, what's up, D? Good to see you hanging out in here, brother. Bogdan having like 8 first-round finishes is crazy for the weight class. Yeah, he's fighting on the Austrian regional scene, though. So there's not, not the best level of competition, but not terrible level of competition either. I think he's going to be the bar by this statistic. I think he's going to bar fight this statistic. Remdog saying, Weezy, why is nobody talking about Myra training in Brazil at the Fighting Nerds this camp? Usually those guys get all kinds of hype. I don't know, but it's a great camp to train at, and they're going to give her a pretty good game plan for this fight. So that's why I really do think, I feel like part of me should get on that Myra Bueno Silva money line. At plus 195, I think it checks a lot of the boxes for what I look for in an underdog. I'm considering that. I'm considering a fight doesn't go to decision, just a straight fight doesn't go to decision. Track bet for Naimov versus Ofli. There's a couple other spots that I'm looking to add on with maybe later on tonight. Is that woman fight really happening in Saudi Arabia? Yes, it is. They removed like 2 of the last women's fight on the Saudi events, or no, they didn't have. So there's only been 1 Saudi event so far, and they had no women's fights on that card. There were none scheduled for that card. There were no ring girls either, but they talked to one of the sheiks during that event, or I think it was maybe after the event. And the sheik had said, the next event, we want to have a women's fight on this card. We want to show that we're starting to become a little more progressive here. So, not only are they going to have a women's fight, but I think they picked a great one, dude. Jasudavicius versus Bueno Silva is phenomenal matchmaking. It's a high-level fight, and I think both of these ladies have got paths to victory. It's a great fight. Making Jasmine have to cover up those abs should be considered haram. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I hope she shows off those abs and the shoulders and everything. I hope that they're not in rash guards, but we'll see. I like the ladies' fight to end in round 3. Oh boy, I've got Jasudavicius KO3, man. So I like it too, dude. She looks good as an underdog for sub or decision. Yeah, but there could be a KO too, dude. When you're getting plus 195, I think you don't want to get too greedy by playing it up to a plus 250 or something for this, the sub decision. I think I would just play that money line. Demir by KO, says Jacob Cole. Dude, I could absolutely see that happening. I just thought that I would get plus 800 or plus 1,000, but it's only plus 650, and his money line is like plus 400. So that doesn't make much sense to me. Alibi saying, going to bet this not to go the distance or not over 2.5 sounds good for heavyweight that don't sub a lot. Yep. We got Cam Bob Sherwood saying, yo, hey, you're awesome. Do you remember me? I don't remember Cam Bob Sherwood, but that cat picture is something that I would have remembered had I seen it. That's wild. There's like a thing here, and then there's a thing here, and the cat's like looking at you saying, like, what do you want from me? It's pretty cool, man. So I don't remember you, though. Gus B saying, Gaziev Nurmagomedov Shara chin strap parlay is plus 236. I think, I'm picking Page, but I would see why people are betting Shara because, I think if it's close, he's going to get the nod, and Shara's a very good kickboxer. Not to intervene, but who do you have for David Benavidez versus David Morrell? I don't even know who they are. No concerns about the gas tank of Saeed. No, not really. Because I think that he's going to finish him. I think he's going to destroy him, to be honest with you. I think he's going to get him out of there in the first or second round. But if it gets to the third, it could get a little bit hairy because Oliveira's got excellent conditioning and he's got that dog in him. So, if it gets to the third, it can get nasty. But like I say, I think Saeed's wrestling is very underrated. And I do believe that anytime he wants to, he's going to be able to get this fight to the ground. So we'll see. He does have great submissions. Hib Comer saying Saeed will gas. And Oliveira's going to put a pace on him. So it's definitely possible. Oliveira will turn into a Holland pumpkin. I worry about one knockout artist on Fight Nerds, and it's not a Brazil thing. You get money to many kids. You think you KO one guy, lose 3, but be entertaining in losses and then a good win and go back to repeat. We got Alibi saying looks like a Rocky movie villain. Yeah, he does. We got Kadeep Montana, my guy, the Godfather, is in the room saying, "Oh, it's an honor to catch you live. I've been so busy with work. It's mind fucking. Your presence is one of one. Appreciate you, Godfather. Good to see you hanging out in here, brother." Justin is saying, be entertaining on losses. Oh, yeah, we already said that. We got Alibi stream highlights saying crazy pick. We got Justin saying Weezy hates one-eye guys. We got Zach in the room saying, oi. We got Justin saying, I didn't think we judge Weezy. We got Kyle Marley, my guy, checking in from Carmel, Indiana, saying, Weezy, hope all is well. Good luck this weekend. Good to see you, Kyle. Kyle, I think I'm going to be coming down to the Frigid Digits Beer Fest in Indianapolis on the weekend of the 15th of February. We should try to hook up if I do get down there. I'll holler at you on the Twitter, man. Always good to see you hanging out, Kyle. I hope all is well with you, brother. Kadeep saying, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but the smartest way to beat Shara is to keep damaging the eye that can clearly see out of. And Michael Page definitely has enough speed and accuracy to do so. Yeah, I think that's an interesting way to look at it because there is only one eye, and that eye, him missing that eye, it's not a coincidence that this dude has one eye and 46% distance striking defense. And that's why I like the Page side here. We got my guy Josh is in the room. Page opened as a favorite, didn't he? Let's look. Let's look, my man. Page opened up at minus 140. You're right. But that was at 8:39 a.m. And by 8:45 a.m., so 6 minutes later, he was plus 105. So they opened him as a favorite, but then he was immediately bet to a small underdog. And then the money is kept coming in. on Shara here. Yes, so he did open as a favorite. Yes. Excuse me. Gus saying, worried about MVP moving up in weight class at his age, Weezy. No, I'm not, because I think this fight is about speed. I think it's going to be about speed. I think all of Page's fights are really about speed and defense. And that doesn't change at 185. And as a matter of fact, because he's the taller guy, because he's the longer guy, and because he's moving up in weight class against somebody that would never be able to grapple to use that size advantage, I think it actually favors Page. But I could, it's an opinion. I can't prove any of it, obviously. But I think the fight's about speed, so it doesn't worry me. Josh saying all the Saudi money came in on Shara, which could scare the fuck out of any Page backers, which should scare the fuck out of it. Yeah, but he's still got to beat him in the cage, Josh. That's the point that I'm trying to make here, is that you can't just hand the guy the fight for showing up and walking into the cage. He's got to fight him. So, and I don't know how much Saudi money it is, because think about it. Saudis are Muslims. Muslims don't gamble. So this isn't really Saudi money. It's just the market. It's the market that well, you might not be talking about the market. You might be talking about just that Saudi money that's bringing the fights to Saudi Arabia, and because it's in Saudi Arabia that he's going to get the nod. But like I say, he's got to win the fight first. He has to win the fight. Usually zero. Yes, Umar, 0 loss fighters, and 0 loss fighters in close decisions will get the nod too, because these boxing judges, and most of these guys are boxing judges, they don't like to rate against undefeated fighters. Abdi saying, I think the best bet of the card is Shara under 80. Oh, God. Yeah, dude, he's not going to land 50 against. Nobody lands that many significant strikes. Yeah, open at 50.5 on DraftKings. That makes a lot more sense. I would still bet the under at 50.5. And here's why. Like, look at the numbers here. Page. At distance, he's absorbing 1.8 significant strikes per minute. 1.8. And that's at distance. This fight's going to take place at distance. So at that rate, over 15 minutes, that's 27 significant strikes, you guys. So any kind of under for Shara Magomedov significant strikes gets the Uncle Weezy, bam, stizamp of approval. Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter, dude. I don't think it's going to matter. But yes, Page did convert to Islam. Zach saying, yep, what's up, Zach? Look at that fat black cat there. That reminds me of the fat black cat that I've got here. Justin saying, Weezy, you got me nervous on my pick. I'm going to end up leaving Shara and my chones trying to come up with a decision. Well, we'll see how it goes, man. Yeah, Page opened up at -140. Alexander, we got, it's either Shara KO or decision, Page. We got 1,000,000% agree, says my guy Alexander. We got, if Shara wins, how are we going to convince Ian Gary to fight Shara in Abu Dhabi? I don't know, man. I don't think it's a good idea, dude. You got Josh saying, you know why. We got Abdi saying, thoughts on MVP over 42.5 significant strikes. I don't think it's a good idea, man. He doesn't land a lot. He lands 3.8 per minute. At that price, at that, he'd land about 58 or something like that. But still, and Magomedov is hittable, but Michael Page only lands 2.1 significant strikes per minute, but that's because he's in control time positions for 50% of his fights. So don't bet against the Sheik. So I'm not betting against any Sheiks because none of them are going to be fighting. I'm betting against Shara Magomedov is who I'm betting against. Squad Shite 423 saying, why not just play end by KO, TKO, DQ? I'm not sure which fight you're talking about there, though. Are you talking about the Ofli Naimov fight? Because I think that Ofli has submission upside. If that's what you're asking, 423, then it's because Ofli has submission upside, but you might be talking about a different fight. Alexander saying, Shara's only path to victory is to take a massive beating, to just brawl and get a KO or robbery decision. Yeah, I think he's got a lot of the finish upside in this fight, Shara, because he's so fucking durable. My guy, Dan Levy in the house saying, smash the like button, gentlemen. Yeah, I always forget to tell people to do that. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the content here. Leave me a comment down below. And don't forget about the 60% off coupons for Patreon and Dub Club that I got below in the descriptions of this video. If it's Patreon that you choose, use the code that I gave there in the checkout. And if it's the Dub Club that you choose, just click on that link and it'll bring you to the 60% off discount code to this phenomenal stats, probability stats, and content package that I provide for $25 a month that you can get for $10 a month if you take advantage of that discount. Josh saying fixes in on this one, guys. Page up a weight class, doesn't give a fuck, looking for a payday before he retires. Could be, man. I mean, like, they want him to win. They want Shara to win. There's no question about that. Nah, Shara has a lot of surprising knockouts, which makes him unpredictable in striking. You know, he is an unpredictable striker. He's got good kicks. Remora in the room saying, oi. Justin Villegas saying, I hope Trump influenced Dana on this diverse hiring with fighters. Firing all color, only Bryce Mitchell Strickland champs. We'll see. We'll see if that's what winds up happening. Yitro saying, Page needs a finish, maybe a finish only bet. I don't think so, man. I don't think he's going to finish this dude. I mean, he can knock anybody out, but I don't think he's finishing Shara. Don't go against Pirate in Dubai. I already did, but we'll see. And they're not in Dubai anyway. They're in Riyadh. We got Alexander saying Imavov might have success striking in the first 2 rounds. Yeah, he might. He might. Page needs control time to win this striking. He will probably lose out. No more Dagestanis, Spain or Brazil or Aussie fighters you ban. Is he the dog fool going to try to play with himself? Imavov has the typical French kickboxing style. They're not good at range. Everything they do is mid-range or close. Advantage Izzy, keep it boring. I agree with you there. We love you too, Justin. We got who do you have for David Benavidez versus David Morrell? I don't know who they are. Justin saying Mike Davis is winning. I could see him winning, man. I think he's going to have to grapple to win, though. Line open at -140 Page by Guy. All the Saudis bet on Shara. Guys, Saudis don't gamble. They would get put to death for gambling, Josh. I promise you they don't gamble. OV Parlay minus main event. There you go. Saudis don't bet usually. They're Muslims. They don't gamble. I like the event. Not too many fights starting early for us. Europe, 5 or 6 p.m. Yeah, that's a good start time for Europe for sure. I got to get up early to watch whether I need to put on 60 pounds or fat or not. The Hamdi Abdelwahab versus Jamal Pogues fight. They did. The line flipped too hard, too fast. Ton of money came in on Shara. Yes, it did. Hamdi, says Justin. Weezy, shave that ass, says T-Saw. Let's go. Oh, there we go. We got Hamdi is a ham with a tug at Asia Massage Parlay overseas. When the fight was first announced, I was like, Paige, as this is easy. Then when you start thinking about it and looking at the line and stuff, it just makes me very nervous. It's a stay away from me. Check out Pogues at weigh-in, should tell the tale. Yes. Give me the Hamdi, says Justin. Lockdog getting chin to cash plus 700 plus 800. I think it was plus 950 earlier in the week. The Nurmagomedov KO. I think it's a great line. Don't read my text. It's just for chat talk. Split majority or draw. Cam Bob Sherwood. There you go. Yitro knows. Wahab money line. There you go. Action Jackson says alibi stream highlights saying both have good odds. Thought hotter than wasabi. Alexander's laughing. We got Remdog saying poor Brady going to need to buy all the new hats. His hat is going to be. We got to hope, man. I can't wait to see Brady just putting 315 on the bar and just cranking 10 reps out. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I am going to be on a cheeseburger diet. I'm going to have to eat way more. See, I don't eat sugar usually. So I'm wondering, am I going to have to start eating more cake and pie to put on this weight? Or can I just like go the burgers and, like the meat and potatoes route, like everything with French fries or mashed potatoes or hash browns that are just cooked in oil. And then I like to season the oil with a little bit of rosemary, black pepper, salt the shit out of those potatoes. Yeah, I think a lot of salt I think that's what I need. That'll help with keeping a little extra water weight on. I'm going to look so bad 60 pounds heavier, but at least I'm going to be able to eat a lot of cheeseburgers. So Brady's going to get ripped and speak a foreign language. Doesn't feel like a loss for Brady. This bet sounds like a great idea, says Hibco. Don't listen to the haters. Yes. Weezy needs to get that Pogues haircut with the two spikes. Non-stop steroids approached game plan. There we go. The wasabi game plan. Yes, sir. Weezy, you look like the lead singer of Korn right now. Just more pepper. I know, dude. Like, there's too much gray hair. I know, dude. We got the life. Hamdi money line says alibi. Let's go, baby. Killing me awfully. What's up, Action Jackson? This with his words telling my whole life. Yeah, killing me awfully. Sounds good for a heavyweight fight. What, Saeed? What you, Saeed? Feels like Rush 3-hour skit with you and me. And ring a ding ding. My guy Kevin Nicholson, the physical therapist in the room. This is MMA at MMA Injury on Twitter, or on the kids are calling it X, saying upset pick Damir Hadzovic 2+ years off after ACL. I didn't know he had ACL surgery. The extra time is good given his age. I think Damir survives round 1. McKinney gasses, and Damir gets the decision. I like it, dude. Like I said, I just, there's no way I could tell people, yeah, you've got to bet a guy like Terrence McKinney at -500, -550 with no gas tank, no durability, no heart, and no conditioning. I mean, you just can't do it. So I think that there's some value on that Hadzovic money line. And if he's got if some of these guys have had knee injuries for so long and then they finally get it fixed and they're like, holy shit, I can do all this stuff that I've never done before. So maybe my guy Kevin Nicholson's onto something here with the upset pick in Hadzovic, man. Thank you so much for the donation to the show, Kevin. It means a lot, brother. Good to see you hanging out in here. And my guy Remdog saying that Uncle Weezy's Patreon is plus EV. You're damn right it is, man. How could it not be plus EV? We hit the first take this job and shove it parlay of the year, 37-1. So, you know, we can miss the next 36 and still be plus, but we're gonna try to hit this one too. Plus 45.54. Let's go. We got Olajuwon made it to the house. Good to see you, man. We got Justin saying I like Damir to KO McKinney. He just has very bad luck. I'm not betting anything with McKinney. Nothing feels safe from him. You have to do like a 7-fighter parlay to make McKinney like -105, and that still feels not good. I hear you, man. Uncle Weezy's Greasy 4-legger equals free. I always tail it. Plus a 60% coupon. Y'all better support your boy. I appreciate you, Jester. Thank you, man. And check out that 60% coupon in the description of the video, you guys. Thank you for the 4-legger last card, Weezy. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for joining the Dub Club, the Patreon. Appreciate every one of you guys. And you're not just throwing the money down the toilet to support me. You're getting a lot of stuff in return, believe me. So check it out, man. $10 for the first month. Why not? We've got Luca saying, how many units are we betting on the parlay, Unc? So like the Greasy 4-legger, I do either a quarter unit or a half unit, but I don't track it. So I usually keep it small, you know, the 4-legger. I've got already a quarter unit on the take this job and shove it parlay, and I'll probably put a half unit on the Greasy 4-legger this week, Luca. Gus is saying, buy the fucking package for the culture, D-Gen. Stop stealing from Unc. Appreciate you, man. Dad's File saying, thanks, Unc, and thanks, chat. Great pod. You got it, dude. We got Justin saying, you going to judge? Are you like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory when you ask how many chocolate Charlie bought? Just one unit for me. And ring a ding ding. Gabe Fulton with another $5 donation saying another great show. Thanks for the insight. Truly appreciate you, Gabe. Thanks for 2 donations to the show, man. I really appreciate it. Alibi saying awesome stream. We got Fernie saying, oi, how you doing, Uncle Weezy? And thanks again. You got it, Fernie. I'm doing well, man. We got Larry saying, I really hope we get to see roided out Brady. Hopefully he won't actually break his TV with the added rage, though. Yeah, he will have rage problems. He's going to be addicted to Rage-a-Hol if he takes all those steroids, but it's part of the side effects. But also part of the side effects of steroids is excellence. So you have to take that into consideration as well. We got Alexander laughing again. We got my guy Genova7 in the house saying Flapjack fight day on Saturday. We're going to make money and we're going to do it in the morning. And then we can go out to the club that night, listen to some badass beats by Genova7 while we get out on the dance floor and try to pick up some ladies. It's going to be fun, Genova, and we're going to cash them this weekend. We got Justin saying 2 breads cut out of middle add eggs. We got Weezy, were you a chef in your past life? No, I was not. I don't know what I was in my past life, but I know that I've been a chef a couple of different times at my dad's restaurant when I was a kid, when somebody didn't show up to work. And boy, oh boy, as a chef, I am a very good chef. If I'm in a kitchen trying to get food out to like 50 people in a restaurant, not a good chef, dude. If I'm cooking lamb and Greek food for my family, you really want to be at the dinner table where Uncle Weezy's cooking. But a chef for other people, that aren't my family and friends, no, I am not. The defibrillator, nice. Let's fucking eat, Weezy. Get my bread ready, says Stacking Cream. Good to see you hanging out in here, man. We got hash browns with Tabasco sauce. That's not bad, dude. I like a little spice. Give a Jewish heavyweights. Crystal Octahedron's in the house saying, honey, wake up. Parker Porter BKFC debut this weekend. 2 a.m. Eastern time weigh in. All right, so 2 a.m. Eastern time. That'll be 1 a.m. my time. I think I'll probably still be up. I'll get to watch that. Oh, man, I still got a beer here, you guys. We got Larry saying, I just searched to see if there were any more Jewish fighters aside from Levy, and the AI result had Mighty Mouse and Sean. O'Malley is the least Jewish name I've ever heard. Oh, man. Alexander's going to be tuning in. Crans Nation sprinkled Porter. Ceremonial weigh-ins at 6 a.m. Have a good event, you guys. Love the stream. Best in the business, Weezy. Truly appreciate you, man. Porter should be free. He's much faster and has the better chin. Oh, Yanal Ashmos is more likely to fight and hurt Bryce than Levy could in a fight. Yeah, Ashmos would be, and he's 155. So yeah, Bryce would have to come up to fight him. Well, he would have to. Well, wait. Yeah, Bryce is a featherweight, and both Ashmos and Levy are lightweights. So he would have to come up to fight him. But I think we got to make that. I don't know, man. It is crazy, dude. Just absolutely crazy. Justin saying, well, during that fight, me and my guy friend just going to hold hands, walk, and talk about Super Bowl plans like Saturday. MBS round 3 plus 2,200, says Stack and Cream. I'm picking Jasmine round 3, but I'm looking for a finish there. I'm just looking for a finish. GNP in the sub round 3 for Jazz. I got plus 3,500. I like that too. It's Suicide Squad. He has a starfish controlling his. I like it. We got my guy Chris in the room, dude. One of the guys that's been here since day one, saying just catching this now. Been a while, but great to see you on. Great to see you hanging out in here, Chris. I hope all is well with you, brother. We got Japsimran Matharu saying, do you get parlays with Dub Club? Yeah, I do. I don't do a lot of parlays. I do the Greasy 4-legger, and then with my probability show, I do the probability parlay every single week, and I do the take this job and shove it parlay. And if there's 2 juiced legs that I like, I'll track a parlay or 2. But when I'm tracking parlays, when I'm tracking the bets, it'll be only 2 legs traditionally. But these probability parlays, sometimes I'll track those. But I never tracked like the big wide money parlays. but I give them out because my betting models will have, identify underpriced bets. And if we could put 3 of them together, it makes for a nice plus EV parlay. And when they do hit, they hit big. My guy, the Cuban assassin, is in the room saying Silva's fighting back at flyweight, and she went back to Brazil this camp to get IVF with her wife. No ATT, no fighting nerves this week or this camp. Might miss weight. So, if I'm not mistaken, Mayra Bueno Silva is with Gloria De Paula. So, which one is getting the baby put in them? I hope it's not Mayra Bueno Silva. I mean, I don't know, man. The chin strap parlay. Any guys who got that dog in them, keep away from Izzy. That is excellent advice. It could happen to Dream. Super Troopers, give us a weed fest. Oh, I love Super Troopers, man. Yup, says Olajuwon. This is my first stream. You look like you're a good dude, says Blank. We got another cat, a lot of cat pictures in the people that are watching today. Good to see you hanging out in your Blank. Appreciate the kind words. Olajuwon saying, I do think Paige will win, but Shara could get the W for 2. Sure, absolutely. Having one eye is even worse with a guy who's lightning fast like MVP. Yes. Real Fight Pick saying maybe just one quick inadvertent eye poke. It's good eye. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. But some people have the control of the third eye, so Shara might have just 2 keeping the top eye hidden. That is very true. Just flip a coin, Cam. We got Saudi's gamble, by the way. Do they really? I seriously didn't know that. I had no idea, Crystal Octahedron. But they got to, I'm sure the sheiks, who run the country, they could probably gamble. But who's your bookie if you're living in Saudi Arabia? Because it's not legal there. Come on, it's not legal. So they might gamble and they might do it but just your average Saudi Arabian citizen, I don't think would be able to. We got Remdog saying, first time I did acid in high school was with a Muslim during Ramadan. That must have been really interesting. I've got some great acid stories from my college years. Justin saying, but I feel more comfortable going with a Benavidez. From MMA to robot jockey camel racing, they bet a lot. No shit. Okay. That's something I did not know. I learned something new today. So Gus saying agreed on MVP mostly. I think he might be even live to finish Shara late. That would be interesting if he did. Cam Bob saying my name is Justin too, so I trust you, Justin. LOL. We got Muhammad saying, what's up, Weezy? And he's saying, I've been limited at most of my books now, taking a bit of a step back until I work out how to proceed, regretting hitting Bet365 strike odds kind of hard. Advice welcome. So there's a lot of books now. And I would look into some of these peer-to-peer places that you can bet, because you're going to get you can eliminate a lot of the juice on the bets, like the places like Bet Openly. I was watching VB MMA picks, and he had a guy this week on his live stream that was advertising another peer-to-peer market for MMA betting, well, for all kinds of betting. But I would look into the peer-to-peer markets, and I would look into some of these books like Forecasters and Cloud Bets, and they're mostly crypto books, but they've got really thin lines. Like they've got they're not taking a lot of VIG, and they seem to be taking a lot of action and kind of laying off orders and stuff like that. So I think that those are the places I would look right now. Forecasters, Cloud Bet, and then Bet Openly, and whatever the one, I don't remember who VB had on his show, but if you look at VB MMA picks on YouTube, he had somebody on his show this week that was advertising another peer-to-peer place. Justin Cash with the $2 donation saying, anything I like on Prize Picks. So I like play now, allow, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I did allow. Fuckers. Well, I don't know, dude, but I would bet the under for Shara significant strikes. I would bet if there's an under bet for fight time for Nurmagomedov Oliveira, I would like to know where that is. If there's an under bet for Naimov versus Ofli, like if you can get under 14 and a half minutes, I would bet that. And I wouldn't mind an over bet in Gaziev versus Petersen. So over minutes, Gaziev, Petersen. Under minutes, Nurmagomedov, Vinicius Oliveira. Under for significant strikes for Shara Magomedov. That's what I would look at, Justin Cash. Thank you for the donation, my man. Remora is putting 0.1 unit on page round 3, 2,000. If Shara's good eye swells up, maybe they'll stop it. That could be a possibility. We got Muhammad saying, read the Benavidez versus Morel fight. The sharpest line left, in my opinion, would be Benavidez 7 through 12 plus 500 or a Benavidez live bet. And we got Yasser saying, bro, the Saudis gamble their money here in Morocco. Oh, they're okay. So there's Moroccan casinos that they can go to. Okay, got it. Understood. Thanks for the heads up. I really didn't think they gambled, honestly. Hamdi doesn't pass the eye test. He's not a handsome guy, Genova. Yeah, he does not pass the eye test. Not much to look at, but I hope he can wrestle here. And Pogues doesn't pass the eye test for me. So we'll see. It's an ugly fight. Pray to God that I don't have to put on 60 pounds of fat. Drink Coke instead, or drink cake instead of eating it. That could work. We got through syndicates for sports. Okay, yeah. And yes, I appreciate Justin. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, and look at those spots that I gave you for the prize picks. Saudis are not the kind of Muslims people think they are. He got it. All right. Yasser saying, yeah. Dravi saying, Uncle Weezy, what's up, dude? What's up, Dravi? You know, I fucked up, man. You were supposed to be going live at 10 o'clock my time. So I set up my stream for 8 o'clock my time. And just before I'm about to go on, I'm like, all right, I'm going to finish up the show, and then I'm going to watch the Beat the Line broadcast at 10. I realized that these guys changed their time and went live at 8. So I feel like a prick, Dravi. I never would have put my show, because I never go live on Thursday night against you guys. But it just so happened that you guys moved it and I moved it. So I feel like a prick for doing that to you guys. But either way, good to see you hanging out in here. I hope you smash this card, dude. Okay, yeah, is it boxing? I'm guessing it's boxing because they're talking about 7 through 12. I wish I had time to watch it. McKinney got knocked out by a knee shooting for a takedown on the Contender Series against Sean Woodson. Yes. People are saying Hadzovic is slow, but he timed a similar knee to knock out Marcin Held. And yes, I talked about that in my fight write-up here for that fight, Genova. It's so funny you say that. In the summary here, I was talking about that McKinney's been knocked out so many times that we saw McKinney get hit with a knee by Bonfim. He got hit by a knee shooting in on a takedown by Woodson, and we saw Hadzovic win the fight in the 3rd round against Held with another knee. So yeah, that was something that I absolutely saw as well, and I think it's a sharp look. Thanks. Every time you do this for us and make week before fights entertaining, you got it, Justin. Thanks for the insight. Have a wonderful weekend. You do the same. Thank you, Weezy. You run the best live chat of all time. Have a good night. You do the same, my man. Pantoja minus 250. Kai Kara France plus 210 just dropped. Interesting there. Kai Kara France is going to be live at plus 210. That breakfast you were cooking sounds so good. Yes, sir. The defibrillator is my favorite breakfast. For the Saeed fight, would you pick under 2.5 at plus 112, or fight doesn't go to decision at minus 103? The odds are not far off in my book. Yeah, in that case, if the difference is 112 and 103, I would definitely go fight doesn't go at plus 103. Get those extra 2.5 minutes. I will jump back on the Patreon or Doug Club. Support Weezy. Appreciate you, Muhammad. I appreciate that, man. Do you think MBS sub plus? Yeah, I do. I do. I think plus 750 is a great line for MBS sub. She's always live to get a submission. Ziam sub 2, 5,000. Ziam sub 3 plus 7,500. That would be wild if he pulled that out. Those are massive numbers. Bueno Silva has been getting by on her good looks for way too long. Time to pay the piper. Jasudavicius is pretty good looking too. All these women scissor each other. Brazil, you think we get more subs. Myra's wife is getting IVF. She hasn't fought at 125 since 2021. That makes sense. Yeah, we haven't seen Gloria DePaula for a minute. We got Luke in the room. What's up, Unc? What's up, Luke? Good to see you hanging out in here. Check out Sparring with Reality at SWR Betting on X. Hilarious. Great account to follow. And great bets, by the way. This guy's one of the best cappers going for a very long time. So if you don't know Luke, now you know. Check him out. Sped MMA Enjoyer saying Sheik's gamble on draft prints. Okay. Freddie Fred saying you're the best in the business, Uncle Weezy. We're going to be so rich. We're buying yachts, my friend. But the problem is once you get the yacht, finding a good yacht repairman. That's the part that nobody tells you about. You know, it's all, you know, you're going to be getting laid. You're going to be, you know, wrist deep in these co-eds, all this shit. But nobody tells you once the bill comes due to fix the yacht. That's when it gets tricky. Ultra Byron in the room saying, Uncle, who's the ass shaving of the week this week? It is going to be Said Nurmagomedov to shave the ass of Vinicius Lockdog Oliveira. We got, this is my new maid character. Begging Beaver Moicano wants money. Styles Make Fights saying, what part of Chicago are you from? I am in the Avondale neighborhood, my friend, by California and Diversey, right over there, man, right by that exit by 9094. Local man shakes fist saying Shara's significant strikes on 78 on Prize Picks. Yeah, so if you're on Prize Picks, I like the under 78 significant strikes for Shara. Fliff and Profit X, okay, are good peer-to-peer books. Sometimes have better lines too. Just don't have much in the way of props usually. That makes sense. But I think that as these peer-to-peers become more popular and as they get more order flow, you're going to see some of those prop bets start to fill in. So I think it's a good thing for people to look into. Looks like MBS was training at Fighting Nerds. She's doing IVF, but she was still training. Interesting. We got Weezy. I've tried the only betting exchange with any liquidity on MMA here, but the issue is I'm in the UK. I don't believe any of those serve UK. If I can't clear up the limits, I may move. All right, yeah. Yeah, you might have to, dude. Or you might have to look into solutions with VPNs and I'm sure there's technological solutions that should be able to make you find places where you can get the size bets that you want to get down, but it's tough, man. I don't think he does, man. You know, sleep is the cousin of death, so I don't think Muhammad sleeps. We got, in order to be awake for UFC events, I wake up in the middle of the night. This is early morning for me, says Muhammad. Does that make sense? LOL. And then we got Stacking Cream saying 5. All fight doesn't go. TM, JJ, SN, SP, MN. So let's look. If we're looking, all fight doesn't go to decisions. What's TM? Terrence McKinney? Jasmine Jasudavicius? SN is Said Nurmagomedov. SP is Sergey Pavlovich. And MN, Muhammad Naimov. I'm picking 5-leg, all fight doesn't go. Yeah, so I've got, Myra Bueno Silva, Jasmine Jasudavicius. That won't go. McKinney Hadzovic, I don't think that's going. I'm picking fight doesn't go for Naimov Ofli. I'm picking fight doesn't go for Said versus Vinicius, and also for Pavlovich versus Rozenstruik. At plus 1230, I think that hits, man. I think that hits. I wish there was a place that had novelty props for MMA. If I had the funding to back it, I'd use one of the peer-to-peer books to open an over-under line on how many fighters will miss weight each card. That could be interesting. Chris saying, take care, Unc. When I start betting again soon, I'll add you on Patreon. Hopefully soon, brother. Good to see you, Chris. I know you've been with me since the beginning, man. Smash that like, MMA fam. Let's do it, dude. Wowzers, MVP's odds doubled overnight. Did they really? Yeah, he's at plus 165 right now on Bookmaker. And on DraftKings. Those are the best available lines on Page. And then we got Real Fight Picks that I thought Weezy was from O Block. I guess that was not from O Block. Yeah, I really miss my strike props. Bet 365 was my only option before. Carter saying we should be good for Saeed's money line, right? His last 2 fights got canceled. Yeah, I'm on the money line for 3 units at minus 150, Carter. I like it a lot this week. Good luck to everyone in the chat and your bets, Weezy. I'll be rooting for you on the bet. Much love to everyone except Chiefs fans. Kidding. We got Olajuwon saying he can put an emoji but not the names. And we got Anthony Frazier saying Pavlovich isn't southpaw. I don't know why that. Here, let me look. So he's definitely listed as a southpaw on UFC stats. I have him listed as a southpaw on my stats package. So are you saying that he fights orthodox? Because sometimes they do this. Like, for instance, they have Colby Covington listed as an orthodox fighter, but he never fights orthodox. He's only southpaw. So I draw this from UFC stats. So they do have him listed as a southpaw. I guess I'll have to go back and look into it. But he's listed as a southpaw on UFC stats, and they usually don't fuck that up. Because they say Shara has a staph infection. Really? Oh boy. Wow, are the lines moving that much? Page is still 155. He's pretty good. I've been looking at setting up a Pinnacle account. I've heard they are not quick to limit. All right. Anyway, good luck this weekend. And then Luke would know. Listen to Luke saying, advice to not get limited. Don't bet gimmick props. Don't bet gimmick props. Prime accounts with square bets. Oh, yeah. So mix in a 4-leg parlay every once in a while. Do some things that are going to make it look like you're not putting sharp bets every single time. You know, guys like Luke, guys like Lucrative, some of these guys that have big unit sizes and are profitable over long terms, they have to have strategies to not get limited. And you have to be very careful about how you size your bets and how you mix in your parlays to make it look like you're a little bit square. It's okay. So he's fighting orthodox. All right, that's interesting, Anthony Frazier. I'm gonna have to. I appreciate the information on that. And a lot of times, wrestlers will fight out of the opposite stance to shoot takedowns, but he's not a wrestler, so I don't know why UFC stats has that information wrong on somebody that's got as many fights as Pavlovich. So thanks for the heads up on that, Tony. I will change that on my sheet if I go and I see him fighting orthodox. Agree, that's good advice. Like I knew I was playing with fire with strikes odds and mixed in square bets. Yeah, worked for a few months. Staph on his chin. People don't know if it's healing. Or how would you know? That guy's beard is out to here. He's got staph on his chin, huh? That's really weird. I'll have to look into that, Real Fight Picks. Thanks for the shin. I was gonna say, how the fuck would anybody know if this guy had anything on his chin? Also been plus CLV constantly. Yeah, you know, consistently week to week. Have them thinking that you're an arbor. Yeah, and that'll happen. All right, you guys. 295 people hanging out live. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. Like I say, look at that. Look at those links in the description of the video. 60% off your first month Patreon or Dub Club membership. Get access to my track picks. Get access to my fight write-ups. Get access to my betting models for over, under, and prop bets. Get access to individual fighter stats, all the DFS stats for DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, Underdog. Also, 4 hours of subscriber-only content not available on YouTube. Balls Deep Breakdowns, 2-hour full card breakdown show. Probability, 2-hour full card plus EV betting show that utilizes my betting models. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for the donations. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. And please consider supporting the work on Patreon or Dub Club. Let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC Saudi Arabia, the happiest place on earth, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And we're going to be the happiest gamblers on earth after we smash the bookies this week. You guys have a great weekend. Let's cash all the bets. And we'll see you back next week for UFC 312 in Australia, headlined by Sean Strickland and Dricus Duplessis. Olajuwon saying, great show, Weezy. Gus B with the flapjacks. Muhammad saying, thanks, Weezy. Stacking Cream saying, you the man, Weezy. Great shite. We're going to smash all them books, brother. Get my bread ready. Let's go, you guys. Have a great rest of your night, and good luck on all your bets. Take care.